Bitcoin rises to a new all-time high. Ethereum is back above $3,000 and CRO is now knocking on the door of 12 cents. A lot of bullish things are happening in the crypto market, but does that mean it's time to buy or is it time to sell? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. Recently on the channel, we've been looking at short-term charts, like for example here, CRO US dollar on the 4-hour candle, because it has been battling the 10-cent level, and now it's slowly climbing towards 12 cents. So that's very interesting, but you can't forget to sometimes also zoom out, because you can't forget the bigger picture. We're not here for a 10% increase of a portfolio. No, we're here for that 10x increase of our portfolio. Therefore, in this video, we're going to analyze the macro environment first. Then we're going to do a deeper dive on the CRO chart. And finally, we'll take a look at the social sentiment as well. But let's start with Bitcoin. As you can see on the chart, Bitcoin recently hit a new all-time high of $123,000, almost double the previous bull peak. And with that, of course, the question rises, is this it or will we go even higher? And to tackle that question, we have a few different approaches. And one being the time-based approach, because so far, guys, we have seen that cycles are somewhat cyclical. So they repeat again and again in somewhat the same pattern. And if you take a look at our expectations, you do see that we are now getting to the end really of this bull cycle, but we are not there yet. As you can see, we still have a few more weeks to complete this cycle. So yes, according to the time-based approach, Bitcoin can rise even more. But we have also some other arguments that support that case. For example, we have an indicator here that's called the RSI, the Relative Strength Index. And so far, every bull peak that we have had, we go into the green zone here regarding RSI overboughtness. But now, yeah, we technically are oversold, but not yet at the same length as the previous bull peak. So also here, we do have some more wiggle room to grow to even higher levels. Do know though that these bull peaks are also slowly decreasing. So the question is if you also will see a lower RSI level this cycle as well. Besides the RSI, we can also take a look at the 200-week moving average heat map, because so far every cycle we at least went to a different color green here on the heat map to prove we are actually at a top. So far again also on the heat map, the 200-week is not yet at a top level. We are still in the blue and therefore there is more room for growth. We also have something called the Puel multiple. And that is also showing that we are not yet at a top zone. You can see here also that all the tops we've had so far, so 2013, 2017, and also here in 2020 or 2021, we basically went very close at least to this red zone. We're now only at a very, very low number. So I do believe we have more wiggle room to also grow to at least a number of about 2.18. So check out, guys, also CoinGlass if you want to learn more about these Puel multiples and also the 200-week moving average. Link will be in the description down below. And if you're there, don't forget to also hit the like button and of course subscribe for more content. So based on all these indicators, Bitcoin has a lot more room to grow. And it's also great for the overall crypto markets, including altcoins. But then, of course, is it already time for altcoin season, or are we still knee-deep in Bitcoin season? According to the altcoin season index, it is clearly not yet an altcoin season. However, it is very important to note that the altcoin season index is really more of a lagging indicator, because it only points towards altcoin season when it hits level 75. So then all the big pumps already happened. And of course, we're looking for pumps to come. We're trying to predict the future a little bit, of course. And the interesting thing there is that you can see that we just escaped the Bitcoin season. We're now above level 25, meaning that we are potentially heading into an altcoin season. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that so far many summers ended with going into altcoin season. For example, here in 2023, we went into altcoin season starting already, I would say, in September. And also last year, after September, we went into altcoin season. So yes, now it's still summer. It might still feel like a Bitcoin season, but I can feel really that altcoin season is coming. And it's also supported by a few facts that we can find, for example, on different charts like here, Ethereum. Ethereum is finally above this important trend line. Guys, this trend line is super old already. We're talking about the start of this trend line since the end of last bull cycle, so here in 2022. And now it is finally trying to reclaim this trend line. And therefore, I do believe once we really flip this line into support again, altcoin season is slowly starting, as we can see also on the Bitcoin dominance chart. So here also we do have Bitcoin dominance, and so far, guys, when we go into the purple zone, it is altcoin season. Then is when altcoins go truly vertical. But so far, Bitcoin dominance has still been climbing and climbing and climbing. But the devil is, as always, in the details. And if you take a look on the weekly charts here, we are now below this upper trend zone and also getting towards, it seems, this lower trend line. And if we break below this line here, I already drew it here, but if we do continue this downtrend for these candles, we can easily go downwards. And the interesting thing, guys, is that this structure we're looking at, these lines that are slowly converging, that's actually a bearish pattern. So we are expecting a bigger breakdown for Bitcoin dominance that should be leading up to a new altcoin season. And that should be fantastic for altcoins like Ethereum, but also for Cronos. Before we dive deeper into the CRO token, I do want to finish the macro segment because the S&P 500, so the stock market, also had the highest weekly close ever. And probably it is not stopping yet with this bull market, because also there you can see we're not yet technically overbought. So we also have some more wiggle room there to grow. Another supporting fact is that the DXY is also falling down, down, and down. I think the next line we need to look at is 89, but we fell down below the 100, which is very, very significant. And I think we can drop even lower. And for anyone that doesn't know what's this DXY, this is the dollar currency index. So this means that everything that is valued against the dollar is actually becoming worth more and more. So that's also why Bitcoin is becoming worth more dollars, because the dollar itself is losing value. And it's also very interesting because if you take a look at Bitcoin euro, so the euro is the second largest currency worldwide, it just went above 100,000 euros. And this is actually quite a significant fact because, of course, when something like Bitcoin breaks the 100,000 line, euro, dollar, it gets a lot of media attention. So also now in Europe, all the main media outlets are finally talking about Bitcoin, about crypto. So we do feel that retail is slowly coming back in, and they also do feel the need to actually buy something like Bitcoin because, well, things like dollars, things like euro are slowly losing more and more value. Anyways, now it's time to talk about the CRO token, because in the first days of July, it went up from about 8 cents all the way to 12 cents. So a big 50% gain, so nothing too bad. However, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but like I mentioned in the beginning, don't forget to also zoom out, because then you do see that we're basically back to levels of March of 2025. However, if you take a look at the CRO rainbow chart, I do want to also mention that I do still believe in the CRO wave. So you have seen waves here in 2020 and 2021. So here we got a big wave and a new wave, and then also the big final wave in 2021. And we're kind of seeing the same thing now again in 2024 and 2025. So here you can see a wave, and here also a new wave. And yeah, there are some anomalies, like I would say this one is an anomaly. This was, by the way, the pump based on the Golden Age for Cronos proposal. And also here we had a bit of a dump based on the US-Iran war with Israel as well. So a few exceptions to the rule, but overall, you could say that if you take a look at it, the overall trend has been up. The overall trend has been going down and then up again. So we should be continuing with a new wave in my experience. And the cool thing about these waves is that typically they also depend kinda on other factors like moving averages. And I got a very important one here. And this is the 50-week simple moving average. So basically the year-long simple moving average. And every time we really break above the 50-week, something huge happens. And we just had a break again of the 50 week. So just above 10 cents, meaning we're now above the 50 week. As you can see, also here, a break above the 50 week meant a big move to the upside. Also here, break above the 50 week, big move to the upside. And also, like I mentioned earlier, here, this was the true start of the $1 move by CRO. So honestly, I am quite excited with this new wave just starting. I do still believe that this wave has to still begin. And this is going to be truly parabolic. It might be, again, due to the time in the cycle, one of the final waves that we're going to create. And this can be, I think, what many people have been waiting for. Anyways, also another supporting argument is the MACD. The MACD is just creating some more green candles. I was hoping for a bigger continuation of these green candles, but we just went into the red very shortly, again, due to that Iran war. And now we're again moving to the upside. So this can become like this, a very big MACD. And also again supported by the RSI. The RSI for Cronos is super low in my opinion, because we are not even close to the 70 level, meaning oversold. So again, also RSI pointing towards more upside, MACD pointing towards more upside, and also, like I mentioned before, this crosshair of the 50 week is definitely a great argument for future pumps. Let's also talk about the CRO Bitcoin pair, because the Bitcoin valuation of CRO is also very important. And the last time we were talking about a potential break here of this resistance line, but it actually went back and it even set a new all-time low for the CRO Bitcoin pair. So that was quite bad. However, CRO Bitcoin is again recovering. And I talked about a W pattern earlier last time, but we still might create a new W here in a bit more crooked version. That's still possible though. In that case, we might be going to the upside also for CRO Bitcoin. I still do believe that this cycle, we're probably going to revisit this line here, so we can still go a lot higher. We're still in the beginning phase of an altcoin season that is coming. So guys, I am still quite hopeful. But still, let's take a look next month as well, how Ethereum is going to develop and also how this Bitcoin dominance chart is further developing. The final topic of today is the social sentiment of Cronos. And we do see on the Cronos social risk metric that it is slightly rising. So it went from 32 in June to now 33. So it's going into the right direction, because the further to the right, the more price volatility we do expect. And of course, guys, it is that simple that the higher this is, the more people are talking about CRO, the more people are buying CRO, and therefore the price is rising and therefore the risk is rising. So when we go into the red, guys, it is definitely time to sell. Then though, it is time for a conclusion. Is it time to buy CRO or time to sell? And based on all the things you've seen, for example, Bitcoin still having much more room to grow. We've seen also metrics for CRO showing that we have still much room to grow. And also we've seen, for example, altcoin season slowly starting. So ladies and gentlemen, I would say, yes, it is still time to buy. But of course, this is no financial advice, so do your own research. If you want to learn more though about the CRO token or crypto.com, then definitely don't forget to check out this video to the right of me as well.